Today's talk is called Fit for Purpose. Because it has a brisk soundbite quality in the negative, we often hear that something is not fit for purpose. And I did an online search for that, and the list is long. It would be somewhat amusing if it wasn't for the fact that it includes some things we sincerely wish were fit for purpose. And they include things like computers, televisions, hospitals, homeless shelters, kennels, banking systems, healthcare systems, biometric passports, the economy, the Football Association, the road system, the EU, even though European law dictates that goods must be fit for purpose when sold. But instead of that negative focus, we're going to look at the positive. And today we'll follow this meaning. It's about getting things done in an accurate manner, on a timely basis, and at a reasonable price. We're not talking about your products or services. Let's take that as a given that they are. We're talking about the supporting organisation of your company. And we're focusing today on organisation to support it so that its goods and services remain fit for purpose. And that means all the pieces of your jigsaw should fit. How does it measure up today? When we start our companies, things are fit for purpose. And that's because at that stage, there's a simplicity of focus that's easier to achieve than when the business evolves and matures. And then from this orderliness, we adapt. Things change, the markets change, we get new staff, we move to new premises, we add new products. But still, we know how things work. Do we? I bet they've changed. If nothing goes wrong in a way that's caused some rapid repairs, then maybe they haven't. But a company is an interesting jigsaw. As Alice experienced in Wonderland, the pieces can take on their own rather disturbing character. We found that these 7 handy tools help you to make sure all the pieces of the jigsaw that make up your business fit. So let's look at them one by one. Do you have any boilerplates? What are they? They're the blocks of standard text that you use to make sure you always give the same message on things that are important. And in these days of increasing obligations of regulatory compliance, it's never been more important that some things are always written in a standard way. The second tool we have today is something that I'll show you, and mine is rather tatty. And that is an old-fashioned thing called a bring forward file. And that has a concertina arrangement with 1 to 31 slots, and you can pop the end of the month, things for the next month, in the end onto the 31 slot. And you say, well, I don't need that. I've got all this sort of electronic help. I have a very efficient system and it prompts me anyway. But this is where you slip your relevant papers, your tickets, your invitations, and all of the paperwork that you actually need when the day comes around. And then you don't have to scramble around trying to think, oh, what did I do with that key piece of paper? Our third jigsaw puzzle repair kit tool is a mail logging system. You do have one, don't you? Don't need it? In the case of someone taking legal action, how are you going to prove that what you sent to whom? Or what you received, and when, and how, and who did what about it? If you don't have one, set it up. A fourth helpful tool is to set in place the few standard operating procedures that give detailed instructions of how to for the few things that absolutely must be done right, like GDPR. You might not be in the business of clinical research or flying an aircraft where these are standard, but there are some things in your business that would benefit from them, and they'd save you and your team a lot of rework. A media schedule is the next jigsaw recovery kit tool. You do have one, don't you? It'll make your life a lot simpler if you spend the time to invest in one once. Then you can just tweak it year on year. And this sets out the topics that you'll address, the events to which you'll respond, the media releases and activities you'll do on a calendar month for the year. Do you have a media spokesperson? There should be one voice that is the company. If it's you and you're self-conscious in front of the microphone or camera, it's just a matter of some good training. And then, as the New Yorker said when asked by a tourist how to get to Carnegie Hall, practice, practice, practice. Next, a budget. A what? A budget? Sorry, but yes, a budget. And it should show how costs are managed and how shortfalls are going to be managed. Cash flow is always a problem. You should know to which acorn shell the coins have been shifted. It's surprising how they can take a mind of their own in doing so. You don't want to turn the acorn shells over and get a nasty surprise about where the money went, and especially not in the company of your best financier or the revenue. So yes, a budget as a living document with which you're on familiar terms. So now you've almost exhausted the tools in today's jigsaw repair kit. Our 7th handy reshaping tool for the missing bit of our puzzle is a disaster recovery plan. I can hear you saying it loudly from here. It won't happen to me. Of course not. But if it did, how would you operate? Think it through and make one. And this is something over which you shouldn't procrastinate. Your business was more or less fit for purpose when we started. And now that we've found applications for all 7 tools in our Jigsaw Recovery Workbox, it should be much more so. I'm not suggesting your operation had pockets of chaos to be personal. Every company has them. But in the words of Jose Saramago in The Double, chaos is merely order waiting to be deciphered. Today, we've found some tools that just might help you do so.